Alright guys, so I'm sitting now at one of my favorite cigar lounges in Dubai itself, and I'm sitting with one of my best friends, and the reason why I'm sitting with him here is very simple. I want to show you guys how my life looks like in an actual way. And to be honest, this guy is a big part of it. Why? Because we sit around, I think, 4 or 5 times a week where we're just discussing everything. So for example, I'm a guy who is in love with crypto, he's a guy who is in love with gold, for example. So we are the opposites in a lot of things, what in my opinion gives always the best discussions itself. And we're just going to get through a few questions that you guys had, and he is going to add some of his. So I would say let's just start.
Fantastic.
First of all, this is Ali.
Absolute pleasure. So first question, sort of right off the bat, that the audience were really curious about was, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Talking about trading or business or life?
Let's start off with life. General life advice for, let's say, 18-year-old Camille.
I would say be curious and put your ego aside. I think that's one of the most important things. When I'm looking at myself, and one of the biggest problems that I had is I had a pretty big ego. And that ego itself didn't brought me anything nice. And once I put that aside and put the curiosity on top, so being curious, in my opinion, is what brings all of the good things in life. So for example, one of the reasons why we met is we met through a mutual friend, and he said some things about Congo, that he was most probably going to move there for some business, and I was like, wait, that sounds so weird. Like, why? And it's the curiosity where I was like, okay, now I really want to find out this evening why this guy wanted to go there. Was it for finance? Was it for anything else? And this brought me one of the best friendships. Same goes for in business, for example. When I'm looking at business and when I'm looking at the crypto space, I would say one of the reasons behind all of the investments for me that went pretty well, it was all because I saw something and I was really curious about, okay, what is this? Let me learn about this topic, become an absolute master in it, and then see how I can earn something behind it. So I would say that's the thing.
Fantastic. And you mentioned sort of getting rid of ego. Are there any sort of practical steps that someone can take? Let's say, for example, if I'm a really cocky, arrogant kind of guy, my ego just takes up the room. How do you control ego, especially when you make a lot of success? Now that you're a lot, you're in a different place from when you were 18. I know that you were quite successful when you were younger as well, but how do you keep your ego in check?
Just asking myself, why do I feel like a certain way? So for example, one of the big things for me is I didn't want to work for someone else. And I was broke. So in my opinion, I didn't have the right to actually say I don't want to do this, but it was my ego who wanted it. And then I asked myself, okay, like, why? Because those and those guys will think that I'm a dipshit, I would say.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, why bother? Because at the end of the day, they are broke as well. The guys who work for someone else in the thing that you want to work, sales, are not broke. So maybe just put your ego aside and just switch environment and just do it. And I think that's for me the biggest thing. When you are when your ego is very big, ask yourself, why is it big? Because most of the time you're just pleasuring people you don't even like. And I think that's one of the things.
I think definitely sort of one thing that we've talked about before is you have to put yourself in the uncertain, unconfident environment in order to learn something new. Like the other day we went and played paddle or padel. And it was one of our first times sort of going there. We had no idea what to do. By the end of it, we could get a bit of a rally going. So I can definitely see the utility in that. And then with regards to sort of trading in particular, we talked about sort of general life advice that you would give yourself at 18. What advice with regards to the craft of trading that you now do sort of full time, what advice would you give your younger self with regards to that?
That he really needs to understand the long-term vision, and that's something every beginning trader struggles with. That the long-term vision is something that's so hard to understand sometimes, because it's viewed like a business model. These days, when you're looking online, you see guys from 18, 20, 25 popping off every single day with a new Lamborghini, for example, who are showing you, and that brought me through this business model. And now you think that you can do this overnight as well. Well, it shouldn't be the idea to do stuff overnight, I think. So when you're looking at a lawyer, for example, he earns his first money after 8 years. When you're looking at a doctor, he earns his money after 9 years. And I think in trading, you should already be blessed if you get some money out of the markets after 1 year. But a lot of people already stop after 3 months or maybe even 1 month because they say, yeah, no, what, I don't see any profit from this. So I think just understanding the long-term perspective.
I think that's so true. Thank you very much. Even sort of footballers, one thing that they forget is the kid's been playing since he was 5 or 6 years old. You know, so I think actually that's great. Fantastic. And now that we're on the topic of trading, what advice would you give particularly to beginner traders with regards to habits? So what habits should a beginner trader start to have?
Get rid of the emotions and stop seeing the money that you play with as money, but start seeing it as just online casino chips that you already gave away. So there's a very big difference when you lost $1,000 on a trade, if you are seeing it, for example, like this bag. So when you see it, okay, I just lost this thing, or you see it like, okay, I just lost some casino chips. And I think especially in the beginning, don't view your money in the beginning as grocery money, I would say. So when I'm looking at one of my business partners, he became my business partner, but before that he was one of my students. And he said after the first month of trading, listen up, I'm doing pretty well. I started with 1,000 and I'm now on 1,300. But he said, listen up, when I take a trade, I literally have €5 of profit. So how am I able to get groceries from this money? I told him, listen up, in the first year, this money isn't supposed to pay you for your groceries, but it's just you crafting your skill itself. Have a job besides this, make sure that you have some income so you can craft the skill itself, and with the money you can build further in the skill, and don't think, okay, I want the most expensive groceries, I would say.
And sort of you mentioned your students, and sort of, you know, that I also teach sort of economics, but what are the big things that you've learned about actually being in a mentor role and having students?
So it's patience, especially patience, because for me, I would say that I became a way better trader since I started teaching to people. Because you need to make things more simple as they are. And that's the funny thing. That's even in the book of The Life of a CEO, I think it's that one, where he mentions that if you really want to master something, you first need to learn about the skill, then teach it, then review it, and then readjust it so you can teach it better. And this was such a thing for me when I'm looking in the beginning, when I wanted to wanted to teach it to people. It was so different than what I'm doing now, because of course I now know how to explain it even in easier and easier words, because how one guy learns something in, so for example regarding books, we are pretty fast readers, but we are very different readers. I need to read in a busy environment while you need to be locked in somewhere, and with everything you need to explain it in a different way, I would say. So it's just the patience, and that people sometimes in the beginning I thought, wait, is this guy just stupid or what's the thing? But that's not it. Some people just learn in different ways. So it's, for me especially, it's the patience.
That's one thing that you actually taught me with regards to teaching different people, was explain it simply. And if you can explain it simply, then you've actually mastered it. Because when I'll be teaching it to a group of individuals that have sat specific exams to be in that specific room, and the barrier to entry there is very, very high. And in my head, when I'm teaching, someone off the street that I'm in a conversation with that wants to learn something, I'll use that terminology and I'll have that headspace on, but the other person has no clue what I'm talking about, and it gets lost. And then they haven't received the information. So I've wasted my time, I've wasted their time. but then I've made them feel bad, and I've made
Exactly.
them get away from the topic.
Yeah.
So I really was appreciative of that.
Yeah, and it's such a good mirror for yourself.
Yeah.
Like I always feel it as the students are my mirror. So instead of thinking, oh my God, this guy is so stupid, I think, okay, wait,
Yeah.
I didn't explain it
Yeah,
in the right
exactly,
way, because
exactly.
if he can't do this, it means that I explained it in the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead of putting the problem to his side, it's my problem, because at the end of the day, I really think everyone can become a trainer, but it needs to be explained in the right way.
Yeah, they need to learn in a way that actually they can absorb.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's quite solid. Sort of staying on that topic with regards to reading books. The other day when we were at Churchill, thank you very much. We were talking about two different ways that we actually read books. You were saying that sometimes when you read a book, you'll read it like a Karen. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah.
And what I said, that the way that I actually read a book was, I'll say, the person who I'm reading absolutely knows everything, and let me just jump into their brain and pretend that every single word they're saying is gospel.
Yeah.
And then after I'm done, I'll read through my notes or skim read the book, and then I'll be like, how have you been finding the book Meditations so far? Because you're making a few notes at the beginning, but
no, I like the book. So let me quickly explain how I read how I read books. It's very simple. I just read it like a Karen. So like someone who is very skeptical about certain stuff. The reason for this is because I want to know, first of all, I don't see the book itself directly as the truth, because it's still just a human being who is writing the book itself. So I want to see, do I actually agree on this? Yes or no? If I agree on it, okay, fine. Then it means that does he have more details about it? Yes, okay, then I learned more. Well, if I think, okay, I totally disagree with this, why would I even bother to learn more about it? When I'm looking at the book Meditations, and it's a very well-known book from Marcus Aurelius. I think it's a good book, but I think it's a book that you need to pick up at times when you need it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. It's not a book that you're going to read when you're at your sunbed just laying around.
Yes.
But I think it's a book like a emergency book, I would say. So when you're in a situation where you really don't know what to do,
100%.
that's when you pick up the
Absolutely.
book. So I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I definitely go back to it from time to time. I definitely go back to it from time to time whenever I'm feeling a certain way, and it's got something like 12 chapters, 11 chapters, and each chapter will have a specific lesson to it. But just sort of briefly, while we are talking about books and the way you analyse books, I know that you are a sort of a reader of the Quran.
Yeah.
And we've had many conversations about religion and different aspects to that. And do you take the same philosophy of reading with scrutiny when you're reading the Quran?
Yeah, but the thing is, I really tried to read things, and I was like, okay, like I tried to find mistakes, but the problem was I couldn't find any.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
I told you many times. So we talk about religion a lot.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't find any mistakes, and I still till this day cannot find any. Even though I'm always, like you know me, I'm really a Karen, because I want to go to the core of something.
Yeah.
In that particular case, I cannot find any, and that's why, for me, it's such a conviction, I would say.
Well, that's one thing I really like about universal truths, is that they're true on absolutely every single metric, and no matter how you try and penetrate the sort of subject, if it is a truth, you can't. It's pure and just sort of unbeatable.
Yeah.
So, I think that's fantastic. And I've just lit up a cigarette.
Yeah.
You know that I smoke cigarettes quite a lot.
Yeah.
I know that you do not touch a cigarette.
Yeah.
But you have a cigar in your hand as much as I have a cigarette in mine.
Yeah.
Why have you never wanted to pick up a cigarette? Not that I'm encouraging it.
Yeah.
I think it's a filthy habit. It's hideous.
So this is first of all, this is not a good habit at all.
Mm-hmm.
So smoking itself is not allowed in my religion itself. For me, the reason why I never picked up a cigarette is very simple. I just didn't feel any attraction towards it, I would say. So when I'm looking at a cigarette, it feels like for a lot of people it's just a quick fix. So they will grab it when they are in a situation where they cannot get a hold on themselves anymore. While a cigar for me is just a moment of rest. So the only moments when you see me with a cigar is at the end of the day, most of the time, when I'm reading certain stuff, or when I'm reflecting, or when we are having conversations like this. So for me, it's just a luxury of time, I would say, where you're just sitting and you're enjoying something that is of quality, I would say. So when you're looking at cigarettes, it's just manufacturer made. While when you're looking at cigars, it has such a big role.
Hand, it's a long burn. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can definitely, even though a cigarette is completely different to a cigar, sort of, I don't know if I have ever actually told you this, but when I was younger, at sort of school, we would only have about 1 hour from 9 o'clock in the evening to 10 o'clock in the evening where we could socialise. Yeah. And in order to have a cigarette, you would have to go out of school bounds. Yeah. And you would have to be so quiet and only pick the people you trusted the most. Yeah. And then you would light your cigarette.
So for you, it's like a small guilty pleasure.
It's adrenaline, it's guilty pleasure, but the reason I fell in love with it, the cause of the addiction of today, is you would have the same conversations I have with you when we're having cigars there, because you're isolated from everyone. It's pitch black, you have to be whispering, but then also you're controlling your breathing in a slow manner. Exactly. And then you both share the nicotine rush.
And I think that's at the end of the day the thing. It's how you use it. So I'm not against it. I just don't use it because it's not something for me. And I'm against it for people who use it as a runaway. So who are, oh no, I'm so stressed.
I need this.
I need a cigarette. I need a cigarette. When I have the feeling that I crave a cigar, you saw me many times. I just don't do it because I'm like, I won't let that inner guy win from me. Only when I feel like, okay, now it's just a relaxed time.
And when you've accomplished something, I see you do it. Like you wanted a cigar the other day, and you wouldn't allow yourself to even go near them. I think actually you picked up the box and you may have smelt the box, but I don't know 100%.
Always when I'm losing weight, I will smell hamburgers. When I'm stopping or anything else, when I cannot do it, I just want to smell it and make it as hard as possible because I like. As you know me, I'm like a addict to like winning the voice. I would say. Yeah. So that's why I smell it.
Well, there is. We mentioned the word need just now, and this is one of the favourite things that you've taught me in the time that we know each other. Is you'll say something like, "I need X. I need this," and as an economist, I'll say, "No, that's a want because your wants are unlimited. Your needs is water, shelter, things that you have, right?" And you said something brilliant. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, like about the shoes it was, or about was it?
It's about everything. You'll say, for example, I need this new watch, and I'll say, you don't need it. And then you say, no. I'll remind you what it was. You said, if I say to myself, I need this watch, I force myself to go and find a reason why I can have this watch. Did I accomplish this goal? Did I make this benchmark? Did I make this money? Did I do that? How have my trades been? X, Y, Z. And that allows you, because if what you said to me was, if I say I want my watch, I can live without my wants. I can live without this house. I can live without the view.
And I think that's the problem nowadays. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to have the money. Everyone wants to have the house. Everyone wants to sit here. But at the end of the day, they don't need it.
They don't need it.
Well, for me, I just always tell myself, no, I need this. I need this because then I cannot sleep comfortably without having it. So when I want something, you know me, I just wake up and I will call you and say, Ali, today we're going to do this and this and this because I need this.
I need to do this.
And I think that's one of the daily habits or mechanisms in my brain that I created to manifest stuff. I would say
it's like a manufactured self-taught sort of hack to productivity.
Exactly.
And it completely contrasts sort of economics, which is how I view the world, which is wants are unlimited, therefore make choices and make sacrifices. But you are making a sacrifice, and the sacrifice is I'm gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was brilliant, and I've used that terminology myself.
Yeah, and I think for everyone, just ask yourself now when you're watching this video, write it down. What did you tell yourself that you want, and do you have it now? Yeah. Most probably not. And the reason for this is because it's very comfortable for you to say, I want this watch, I want this, I want this, I want this. Everyone wants something. Yeah. Make it a need. And make sure that the next day you wake up with that need, and the other day, and the other day, and the other day, until you have it in front of you, and then you're like, exactly. Have it done. Yeah. What's next?
Yeah. I think that's brilliant. Do you think you developed that when you were in sales, or did that come later, or have you always had that?
No, to be honest, for me it was just, so it started with an eraser back in primary school. So back in primary school you had like very expensive erasers, but I went to...
You mean like a rubber?
Yeah. But it were like the cool shapes, you know?
Oh, it would like, was it circular?
It was like McDonald's fries or anything else, just weird erasers.
Yeah, it's weirder than I thought.
And I didn't have the money because of course I was very, very young. I'm talking about 7 or 8 or something. Sure. And I had a lot of rich kids in my class who just got everything. Yeah. And I went to my parents and like, huh? What do you think? They were like, yeah, no.
It was pointless.
And I was like, okay, now I need this, you know.
This thing,
and then I went to my shopping mall close to my house, and I just said to everyone, listen up, I'm going to do a handstand for you, but I want 20 cents.
Wow.
And then I did that the entire day until I got almost more than 10 euros to eventually buy the eraser. And I came back to school with a bag of those things, and I was like, this is the way. And I think that's when it all started.
Since 6, 7 years.
Yeah, but like it sounds but it's just an example.
That's fantastic. I know I said I'd save this sort of question to the end, but
they did coconut milk in mine. But
they did it in mine as well, though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it makes it sweeter.
I hate coconut, but continue.
It makes it so much better. Fine. Each to their own. Cigars, cigarettes, coconut milk, normal milk.
Yeah. Are you one of the guys who goes into a coffee shop and asks for like?
It depends what drink
almond
it is.
Milk.
No, it depends what drink it is. So a cortado, the drink. If you have it with coconut, it's fucking delicious.
Yeah.
If you get a matcha latte, you can have it with coconut milk. You don't need any agave bullshit syrup, whatever.
Yeah.
At Tim Hortons, French vanilla, I'll get it with coconut milk. It makes it even sweeter. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I usually drink an espresso with just on its own. I'm fine with.
Never ever ruin your espresso because I will ruin you.
What? Ruin the espresso?
Yeah, like put stuff in the espresso itself. No. Okay, let's continue.
Fucking idiots. Yeah, so you said something pretty brilliant to me a while ago, which was, you asked me the question, which is a classic question. If there were, 5 people dead or alive, who would you want to have dinner with?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you that question, but then I'm going to throw in your face what you said to me. But I'll save that to the end.
Yeah. So 5 guys.
5 people, dead or alive, for you to have dinner with.
Okay. I will keep. I won't put religion in this, but I just want to do more of the entrepreneurial stuff. I would say, because I think a lot of watchers are here for the entrepreneurial / trader stuff as well. So to be honest, I think I don't have one particular mentor, but like I mentioned, I just want to learn from everyone else who I see around me. I think that's one of the things I like. Just everyone who you met knows something that you don't know.
Absolutely.
And I think you have so many smart guys out there who you want to learn something from. So I recently read the book from Elon Musk, for example, and I had a lot of things I could really relate to, but I had a lot of things where I thought, okay, that's the artist in him, just the artistic things in him that I cannot relate to.
Sure.
But I would definitely be on the table with him. So I would say Elon Musk is a very big one for me. The reason for this is because he just sticks to his beliefs. Same goes for Winston Churchill, for example. Yeah. He thinks something and he is going to execute it. And I can really relate to that. Well, you know me, when I have a thought, it's going to happen, and I will put everything else aside to make that happen. So I really think that I can learn a lot from those guys itself. When I'm looking at 3 more, it's a hard one because, as you know, I'm not the guy who likes to put someone else here, because
it's quite funny what you said about when you have a thought, it becomes everything. It's you remember you called me once at 4:30, I think it was, in the evening, and you said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And at the time, I was trying to read a newspaper, but I really couldn't get into it. So I said to you, "I'm trying to read a newspaper. It's not working." And you said, "Bring your laptop to the mall. It's going to be a heavy one." And you have never actually, at that time, you never told me to bring my laptop anywhere. Usually I will always bring my bag anyway. But you told me, bring your laptop, so I knew, oh, this is serious. And then you said, it's going to be heavy. And I said, oh, he's never said that. And then when we get to the mall, we then spend the next 36 hours, no sleep, remaking your office into a studio. And I wish you guys could see the before and after. It completely changed the space. It was insane. So when Camille says, when the wizard says,
and imagine a lot of people, when I posted this on Instagram, so the after, a lot of people said, please give me the interior designer for this, and then I was like, you don't want to know what we actually did. So you know, the nice frames on walls that you see out there. The thing was, because when we were going, for me it needed to be fast, so I couldn't wait. So instead of ordering those nice things and let someone else paint my office, I was like, I want to do it myself, because it needs to be done tomorrow.
It has to be done now,
So we got some frames from paintings, and we just got the painting out, and we just put the frames on the wall, and we painted just over it, so we had the nice effect itself. But again, that's just something
we bought 8 picture frames in total. Took out the picture, disassembled the frame, and did each line individually, painting over them.
But did it work?
Gold. It worked bloody well.
Exactly. No, and when you're looking at other people to add to the list itself, I would say Grant Cardone was one that really opened my eyes, because he has the book 10x rule, where he just shows you about 10x thinking, and I didn't had troubles with thinking big, but what I liked is that even though I already thought pretty big, he challenged me to think even 10 times bigger than big. I would say at first I thought it's impossible, until I saw, and I really liked what he said, and that is that if you are thinking bigger, then eventually the way towards it will change very, very much. So it's very, very different to have a business that runs 10k a month than one that runs 100 million a month. And you will see that it has a very different framework as well. So better learn about the framework early, so you already know how to prepare. And you will see that most of the time when you think bigger, it's easier to achieve it, because when you're looking at the smaller things, the line for those smaller things are so big, because there are so many people who want to do that. Or if you're looking at the bigger things, not a lot of people are actually in the line for that, because it sounds hard. Well, actually, you are earlier the one who is going to eventually do it, I would say. So that's that. Then I would say the author of the book The Market Wizards, because he spoke to so The Market Wizards is one of my favorite books, since he talks to all of the big investors and just the big hedge fund guys in the world who made it. And what I really like about the idea is that he just took all of the knowledge that he could from all of the smarter guys out there to eventually learn something from him. And to be honest, that book itself made so much impact on my life itself, that I want him to be there at the table as well to learn more. Besides that, the ruler of Dubai, I think, is one of the guys I really look up to. The reason for this is because if you look what he created, he just said, listen up, I want to become the best in everything, and my country itself needs to be the best in every single thing. And when you hear someone say that, you think, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He, in I think it's now 53 years, actually accomplished it.
Yeah.
And that's so crazy that just how it starts from just a small thinking to actually execute it itself. So much respect for that. I think we are at 5.
That's 5. That's a good 5.
Yeah.
What I would ask is, would you like to meet these people one-on-one? So you've got Elon, Winston, Grant, Market Wittersdorfer, and the ruler of the UAE. Of the UAE or Dubai specifically?
Just
Dubai. Dubai specifically. Would you like them all to be at a round table together, or would you like individual meetings?
Individual meetings.
Yeah.
The reason for this is because they most probably can have a lot of conversations together, and they're like, who is this kid? So I think that's one of them. Besides that, I have a weird thing, and that is every time when I met my idol, or just someone who I looked up to, it turned out to be a complete dickhead. So to be honest, it sounds weird, but most of the time it's just better to not meet them at all, and just have your own frame of thought about them that really motivates you.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things.
There was one thing that you told me when you asked me this question, and then I remember I gave you an answer. Mine was something along the lines of George Washington and a few other figures like that, and you said, why on earth would you want to meet someone who has an autobiography written about them anyway?
Yeah.
Because you know the answers to the questions because you can read about it.
Exactly.
And I thought that was so brilliant, but I was so annoyed because you roped me into that.
And then you started buying all of the books and you had all of the answers.
Yeah, now I'm fine.
So that's the thing. A lot of people always think, oh my God, I really want to meet this guy. I really want to do this, and this. The guys who most of the time you want to meet have like hundreds of books about them. If you want to meet someone who's still alive, yes, he did more than 10 podcasts.
Yeah.
And you literally watched none of them and didn't read anything of them. And I think that's such a big lesson. Like that's the want and the need again.
Yeah.
Like you wanted it,
the dinner,
but the answers were already in front of you. And when I look at these guys, I literally read every book about Elon Musk. I read every book about Winston Churchill. I read every book about Grant Cardone. Every book of the Market Wizards and the Ruler of Dubai has plenty of books.
He's got plenty,
I read them all.
Yeah.
But still, I want to
if
just
you can have that. If you can have that back and forth. These are the guys.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. There was something I told you ages ago. I think maybe one of the first few times we were hanging out, which is something that stuck on my mind a lot, always is, which was so we both believe in an afterlife, and we both try and live a life that would grant us access to heaven, right? What we consider heaven may be different, but our ideal of heaven, right? Now, if you live that life and you're granted into heaven, and then in heaven you go to, the Bulgari Hotel in heaven, whatever it is, the yacht club in heaven, and you're at a table with, all of these people will be deceased, but we'll say Winston Churchill, George Washington, all of these characters that would be in your heaven, right? And you're sat on a table with them, and they're going over their life, they're going over their stories, the things they've accomplished. You can ask them all of the intricate things.
This is one of the most interesting things that he said. What really changed my perspective on everything. He said, if you are with them on the table, what are you actually going to contribute? Like they have all of those crazy stories. I did this. What are you going to say? I just was on the couch. I was just scrolling and just. So I think that's that, and that translated into the second one where we said, just from now on we are going to think that there's always a camera on our head, and we are going to make our own movie. And from that day, I literally wake up with the idea that okay, the cameraman is now sitting behind it, but
he's here now.
That he is like there to film me, and I don't want to be the guy who says, no, I'm just going to snooze and I'm just going to lay in my bed. No, I want to make it an interesting thing. Same goes if I'm reading a book. It needs to be an interesting one, because how many chapters are you going to be on the couch just scrolling? No, you want to, and a book isn't fun if there are no fuck ups.
No, that's true. That's true. It needs a plot.
Exactly,
And
and that's always when I make a big fuck up in life, or when I lose big, or when I do something stupid. I just always ask myself, okay, how do I want this chapter to end? So this was the start of the chapter where I just introduced you to the problem and what happened, I would say. And now I need to show them how I recover from this. Because how bad is the book if you don't recover? And it's like, boom, end of the book, done.
That's fascinating. Because here's the thing: is when you're watching a movie about a character that's just the coolest guy, when there is a fuck up, when he is in trouble, you know he's going to make it. How he makes it, either his past will already tell the viewer how he's going to make it, or he'll learn something new.
Yeah.
Which is always quite an interesting thing. But what was sort of told to me was, let's say you are in heaven, right? And they say, okay, so what did you, all of your idols, what did you get up to in your life?
Yeah.
And they've achieved so much, they've made nations, and you just say, man, I had a lot of things planned, but I just didn't get around to it. You're going to feel like such a loser in front of all your idols for eternity.
Yeah.
So just mathematically speaking, in a way, philosophically, that turns heaven into hell.
Yeah.
And laziness, sloth, is one of the biggest sins.
Tell me your favorite verse from the Bible again, because I think a lot of people will love this one.
Wake up, lazy bones. That one.
Yeah.
Proverbs. I'm gonna have to. I don't want to misquote the Bible because then that's what often causes schisms. It's. I'll find it now for you.
And I think, guys, in general, so the reason why I wanted to make this video is just to show you more of my real life. So when you're looking at my life itself, it just consists of course, day trading itself. And after the trading itself, these moments are worth so much for me. When I'm just sitting with my beloved ones, I would say, and we're just talking about life, talking about improvements and stuff, and just planning forward, I would say. And that's such bigger, or just a bigger thing than the guys what they show you online, where they're just renting a car for one day and just pretend to live the life. In my opinion, that's not life, that's vacation. Well, I want my daily life to be at the best level itself, and I think I created for myself a very good daily life. So I want you to ask yourself the things that you are aiming for, so the Lamborghinis and all of the things, is that a vacation or is that daily life? In my opinion, aiming for the best daily life is what you should go for. So for example, don't aim for a yacht like that, for example, just for a week, but see, do you actually want to be there for a very long time? Because a yacht itself is going to be a crazy investment. So I would say, what is your daily life and how can you make that in the best way possible? And you will see, for a lot of people, they always think that you need millions to live your craziest life. To be honest, my life is pretty expensive though. But when you're looking at life, for a lot of people, you don't have to, or you don't need millions in the bank to maybe live your perfect life. For some people, their perfect daily life, they are already very close to living it. And that's why I would say, just get rid of what everyone is aiming for, but see what you want. And I think that comes back to one of my favorite books, and it's very recently that became one of my favorite books. It's about the four agreements. Yeah. About your belief system. So what do you actually want, and what are your beliefs? Why do you believe in certain things? Why do you believe that school is good or bad? Why do you believe that religion is good or bad? Especially when you're looking at religion, for example. I grew up Jewish. So I didn't grow up as a Muslim itself, but afterwards I saw, okay, this belief system itself, it's not something for me, it's not something that really attracts me. While when I'm looking at what I really believe and what I really like is this, so the Muslim picture, I would say. And that's when I started learning more about that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Did you find it?
The quote, yes, I did. So this is Proverbs 6, and it says, "But you lazy bones, how long will you sleep? When will you wake up? A little extra sleep and a little more slumber, a little folding of your hands to rest. Then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit, and scarcity will attack you like an armed robber."
Exactly.
Which is so true.
And the fun thing is
Yeah.
you read this during the period where I said you need to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very big fan of waking up early. We wake up at 4 a.m. And the reason why I told him to do it as well is because he said, yeah, no, what, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this. So I asked him, okay, when do you sleep and how much do you sleep? He said, yeah, then and then and then. I said, okay, then of course it's almost impossible to do
all the things you need. Yeah.
Because when you wake up, when everyone wakes up, other people are going to ask you to do certain
Message
stuff.
you, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Nightmare. Yeah.
Well, at 4 a.m., no one is awake.
No one. Yeah.
So you have alone time, I would say, and you have quality time with yourself. And I think this is something a lot of people ignore, how important quality time with yourself is. So when you're looking at quality time for yourself, I mean no phones, no distraction, and just listening to yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree. And I'm trying to think of a
To be honest,
closing question.
I think for the first video, this is a pretty good insight of what this channel is going to be all about. So one of the things when I'm looking at YouTube, I was really thinking, okay, how can I make it good for the people? And then I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I want to have a channel where I wanted my 18-year-old self to watch. And to be honest, this is the realest version that you can get from me, and that's what I want to keep this YouTube channel like. I want to give you all of the real information that I think is important for day trading. Same goes for in life, for example, dressing well and all of the stuff. I think there are a lot of components when it comes to living a successful life, I would say, and I just want to be the guy who my 18-year-old guy or version would look up to and take as a good role model, I would say, and that's what this channel is all going to be about. So guys, first of all, Ali, I want to thank you for being on the first video. The camera guy, of course, thank you for being here as well, and my business partner. Now we are just going to enjoy some more cigars at my lounge and just keep on going with the conversation itself. Please like this video, please subscribe to the channel itself if you want to enjoy the journey of what I just mentioned. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao.